ahead of the summit proper. But it was during his meeting with Chinese leader Hu Jintao that the U.S. president brought out the touchy issue of Chinese currency devaluation. CNN has more on that story.
Obama kicked off a very busy day here on the eve of the APEC summit with a welcoming ceremony for the 18 other leaders in attendance at this economic forum. The president trying to use this summit to push for increased trade with Asia, trying to emphasize the domestic jobs that would be created by exports from the U.S., and also trying to kick off a new era in U.S. foreign policy with less of an emphasis on the Middle East and more of an emphasis on Asia. But even so, the Eurozone crisis was top of mind. The president asked about it during a Q&A session with CEOs here.
I was pleased to see that European leaders were taking seriously the need to not just solve the Greek crisis, but also to solve the broader Eurozone crisis. There have been some positive developments over the last week. A new potential government in Italy, a new government in Greece, both committed to applying the sort of internal structural reform that can give markets more confidence.
President Obama also had one-on-one meetings with the leaders of Japan, Russia, and China, and he spoke of his meeting with Russian President Medvedev, saying they spoke about Iran. Russia, of course, has reportedly expressed criticism of that recent IAEA report about Iran's nuclear capability, and President Obama did say that the two leaders reaffirmed their desire to work on a common response, though he offered few specifics. And President Obama spoke with Chinese President Hu about the very touchy subject of currency manipulation, a White House official saying that he expressed impatience and frustration with China on economic issues. Brianna Keeler, CNN, Honolulu.
In Syria, angry supporters of President Bashar al-Assad rallied Saturday night at the embassies and consulates of countries that voted to suspend Syria from the Arab League. Syrian TV says the rallies have taken place at the Turkish consulate in Aleppo. The Arab League suspension is a blow to the Assad regime. CNN's senior international correspondent Ben Wiedemann is in Cairo, and he gives us more on the league's decision.
Characteristic decisiveness, the Arab League has declared it will suspend Syria as of November 16th for failing to implement an action plan designed to defuse the uprising there. The plan had called for Syria to release prisoners, pull forces off the streets of towns and cities, open a dialogue with the opposition. But since Syria actually agreed to that plan on the 2nd of November, the violence has only increased dramatically. In the last 10 days, more than 200 people have been killed. After a stormy session at the Arab League, unspecified diplomatic and political sanctions were threatened as well. Predictably, the Syrian ambassador to the Arab League said it was all part of a plot.
Regrettably, the Arab League is transformed today into a vehicle for implementing U.S. and Western agendas against a brother Arab nation and a founder of the Arab League.
State media in Syria showed demonstrations against the Arab League and in support of Bashar al-Assad, but opponents of the regime have posted video of celebrations. Also in Syria, the Qatari foreign minister stressed that there is no attempt to destabilize Syria.
If they do not abide by the decision of the League and abide by the agreement of the League and stop the killing and allow media in and release political prisoners, this will complicate matters, and we do not wish or hope for this.
Particularly galling for Syria is the decision of the Arab League to open a dialogue with the, albeit divided, Syrian opposition.
Regarding the opposition, based on the decision of the Arab League and with the agreement of the head of the League, we have contacted all factions of the opposition, all of them. Anyone who wishes to attend the Arab League and voice his opinion has been contacted.
Not welcome at the Arab League will be representatives of Bashar al-Assad's regime, now more isolated and embattled than ever before. Ben Wiedemann, CNN, Cairo.
And time now to take another break. We'll take a look at the sports in just a moment.
Ah, bro.
Eka fonti.
Nga finti lan kata saram binkil.
Ko fo ya hakilo mun. Mun ela travel insurance auto photo.
Mun travel insurance. Numbo so no la mindu.
Isi o certain Gambian National Insurance Company. Membe Caravaggio. kabin sanje tan sabani woro wala command wol be ngin bankun kan kamol tanka ila moton kordal ila kodo ani jara kende afam ila doko ye wonole ila nayata andi kila kanindro jo awatol
woto mbatu ngam bin kila table ji ngata travel insurance ni folo
du kare okay kada sama le bita
ha sama
kana ke kumere fi
okay man mata
okay
Gambia National Insurance Company Limited Alfred Nabi Prala Insurance Hajol Mume.
Welcome back to GRT's News to the Sports now. Alaji Dudu Kapijuv has been elected President of the Gambia Athletics Association. The veteran sportsman and administrator was elected unopposed on Saturday at the GAA's Congress. Moures Jallo was at the Congress and he now reports.
After 4 years at the helm of affairs, managing the day-to-day activities of the country's athletics, the movers and shakers of one of the Gambia's oldest sports converged to review the activities of the association for the past 4 years. The quadrennial Congress seeks, among other things, to elect a new executive and map out strategies for the way forward.
As council, we believe that this is the day that your democratic right in sports has been given to you to choose who is to lead you. And once it is done, we hope, whether by winning or losing, we'll work as a team, as Gambians, together for the interest of sports.
The Director of Youth and Sports, Malan Jassi, praised the outgoing executive of the Gambia Athletics Association for promoting Gambian athletics, especially at the junior level. The Youth and Sports Director urged the incoming executives to prioritize the decentralization of the game using the school system and community level to tap out raw talents and harness them into becoming world-class athletes. Judge Gomez, a veteran sports administrator, gave a background history of athletics in the Gambia, describing it as the country's most successful sports, winning more medals than the rest. Gomez reflected on the glorious old days when athletics triumphed at the global stage. The former GNOC Executive Secretary commended the success made at the junior level, but was quick to point out the lack of transforming that success into the senior level.
You are renowned for developing young athletes. Our problem is, how do we maintain that standard from the junior league to the senior league? There is a way. There is a way. The new executive should sit now and brainstorm to look at the way where we would move in from the junior level to the senior level. There is a way. And this a body you're going to organize must be a body that would think ahead, would think of programs, would think of ideas that would move us from winning juniors to winning seniors.
Outgoing Secretary General Alaji Dudu Kapijuv presented the association's activity report for the period 2007 to 2011, which was along with the financial report adopted by the delegates. Next comes the most important agenda of the Congress, electing the new executives to steer the affairs of the association for the next 4 years. And it was a simple decision for the delegates to make, with all 7 incoming executives unanimously elected unopposed, including Dudu Kapijuv as the new president. Alaji Dudu Juv will be assisted by Baindongo Fall and Idrissa Chikonjai as first and second vice president respectively. Amira Jan becomes the Secretary General, to be assisted by Martin Gomez of the Secondary School Sports Association. Alaji Samba A.S. Mbai and Pa Asan Silva were elected treasurer and auditor respectively. The new executive now have the daunting task of getting the country's athletics to the desired target. It is worth noting that much efforts are needed to get Gambian athletics abreast with the continent's grades. And for the executive, they must work together to achieve that target. Momodes Jallo, GRTS.
Quick check of the sports day. Let's take a look at the headlines once again before we end this news. Bulletin: advocates of the right to quality food from across Africa have descended on Banjul to devise strategies aimed at ensuring access to food of the highest quality. The athletics fraternity has elected a new president in the person of Alhaji Dudu Kapi Juv. Tens of thousands of pro-Assad demonstrators, angered by Damascus' suspension from the Arab League, have stormed streets in Syria. And China's alleged manipulation of the yuan and the resultant trade advantage it gives Beijing dominated talks between President Barack Obama